As a part of my cultural plunge, I decided to dive into the highly controversial and unknown world of Scientology. I chose to explore the mysterious depths of the highly speculated religion known as Scientology and experience its church and environment firsthand. People commonly term ignorance as bliss, but for me, it spawns curiosity. I knew very little detail-wise about the organization prior to going on my trip. However, I could very much assume that it varied dramatically from my typical and daily life. To be even more honest, the thought of Scientology, based off everything I've heard, is enough to make me uncomfortable. So I thought to myself, what a perfect combination of concepts necessary to make the most impressionable and unexpected cultural plunge. My hopes were to have fun, expand my horizons, learn something new outside of my own world, and be thrilled and fascinated along the way. In terms of prior knowledge, I had little information about the culture. I was aware of its controversy and being labeled as fake, occult, bizarre, etc. In addition, I knew it was founded by a science fiction author not too long ago. In regard to pop culture, I understood a few celebrities are included and involved in the Scientology family. To name drop, that list would include Tom Cruise and John Travolta. I held many stereotypes and preconceptions. I viewed the church as being member-only and unwelcoming to outsiders or those unwilling to fully commit. I viewed it as a fake society that held conservative outlooks such as racism and homophobic views. I also saw it as very secretive, violent, and controlling of its members, otherwise known as scary. I also believed that the organization was power-hungry for wealth and riches. From the perspective of Scientologists, they believe that God is on their side and they have the answers. They see their methods and practices as correct, efficient, and needed to be abided by. They believe they have the answer to save the world and the members as well. These answers lie in the books created by the founder, called Dianetics. An e-meter machine gives small electric shocks to member to see which voltage has the highest reaction, thus providing the church with a view regarding current issues in that specific person's life that needs attention in order to be fixed or solved. It's used as a gauge. Additionally, churches have the cure while psychotropic drugs and medicinal approaches are considered bad and a waste of time. Auditing is a major concept of the church as well that's used to fix and cure ailments, specifically relating to mental health. Mental health is the emphasis of what needs to be fixed. In order to receive these answers and be granted access to the book, members must buy the products. However, members believe this knowledge is priceless. In short, members strive to be cured of negativity, insecurity, and find the answers of reaching peace and happiness. My guide actually made my life easier in understanding the cultural views as a whole, as he explicitly explained the framework to me, and the films provided visual evidence supporting what he stated, and why they carry the beliefs that they do. Through my questions, my guide was able to explain the framework and answer all of my why, or what for, questions. Before the plunge, I felt fearful of being rejected, fearful of the file being started on me, anxious, nervous, and apprehensive. During the plunge, I felt uncomfortable, fascinated, controlled, unsure, displeased, guarded, and alert. After completing the plunge, I felt a sense of understanding, relief, concern, and confliction. I was fearful of not knowing what to expect. I was also fearful of not knowing what was going to happen or the reason behind why it was happening, and the unfamiliar puts you on a sense of alertness, a feeling of being ready to react when need be. I also did not want to become intertwined within this setting, as I had heard members are not allowed to leave the church or back out of it. I addressed these fears and feelings of apprehensiveness by being aware that they were there. Before entering or going in, I told myself that I'd be in control, courteous, respectful, and very mindful, that my goal was to be a student and learn at least one thing, no matter how major or minor. There wasn't a sense of alarm from anyone that I came in contact with. As a first-time visitor, I didn't get to participate in the usual and typical time within the building as other members. Instead, I was completing and being introduced to the beginning works of becoming a member. However, the lack of alarm with me being there or wanting to join gave off the impression that this happens frequently. The vibe from the person that assisted me was more so figuring out how the church would help me and what answers and solutions it would offer to me. I also believe that the lack of being stared at by other members meant that perhaps they too remember when they became a part of Scientology, so there was nothing out of the ordinary to be seen. The only sense of judgment I felt was from my guide, as he attempted to extract personal information about me and was testing what my fit in the organization would be. I got this impression via his tone. In all, the process was very systematic and seemed like a well-oiled machine in the sense of how well it was working. Social cognition was utilized through me talking to people and soaking up the differences and ways of how the culture operated, as well as what the norms are within the building. Memory was the ND construct used during the survey, as it asked me to recall events that have already taken place. Attention was used throughout the entire visit, whether it was paying direct attention to the survey, the films, the videos, as well as the guy introducing me to everything altogether. Language was used in order to be able to communicate and be receptive to others. Last, the ND construct was used was neuromotor as we walked around and moved throughout the building, as well as the fine motor skills necessary when writing to fill out the survey. Although afterwards I understood which aspects I was not in agreement with, I was open and completely understanding of the why behind the intention of the many people that choose to join. I had an aha moment of understanding. As people, we have common roots, and we strive for healing, health, and happiness. Some people strive to attain these feats through different avenues, which is okay. In short, there is beauty and something to be learned from each person we meet, each place that we visit, and every possession that we own. There are tidbits that we can take from each experience to enhance our own. I have been reminded it is okay and possible to disagree or differ from one another without belittling or disrespecting something different. I have learned that by taking a deeper look, you may find a common ground that links you together in the most basic of human ways. I look forward to teaching these lessons that expand far outside the Common Core curriculum to my students. These are the lessons that matter.